Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with If I Could Only Choose One Work by fill in the blank. It would have to be fill in the blank. And we're going to fill in the blanks big time because the composer is Mozart. And the work is, ta-da, fanfare, The Marriage of Figaro, the Nozze di Figaro. Now, you gave me lots of really good suggestions for Mozart. Everything from the Grand Partita to the string quintets. Don Giovanni was very popular. And frankly, it was going to come down to that. It was going to come down to Don Giovanni versus The Marriage of Figaro. Don Giovanni, because of it exploits Mozart's demonic side, the proto-romantic side, and was probably his most influential opera in many, many ways. However, the romantic side was, later done quite well by the entire Romantic period. And so I don't really feel a necessity to take out Mozart's foreshadowings, to hold that up as an example of things to come. Don Giovanni is amazing. It's amazing. I adore it. It's fantastic. But it's a cynical work. And the characters are all obsessive crazies, basically. I mean, Donna Elvira, and, they're all just nuts. And Don Giovanni himself is a cipher. He's not a person at all. He's an object, in which the reflections of other people's obsessions are sort of mirrored. It's very interesting, psychologically phenomenal, fascinating piece, and musically, of course, stunning. However, I chose The Marriage of Figaro for one of the reasons that one of you pointed out in your comments. It is Mozart's most humane opera. It reveals what Mozart did better than anybody else up to that point, or did in a new way, in the context of opera buffa. Because even though The Marriage of Figaro has a count, a member of the nobility, his characters are not cardboard figures. They are real people. I mean, really real people. They have feelings. They are developed throughout the opera. The story, of course, is crazy, but the point is not that the story makes sense. The point is that the emotions make sense. The emotions are true to whatever the situation is, no matter how wacky the situation is. That's what makes opera work generally. That really is the conception of what a great opera is. No matter how stupid or bizarre or contrived or supernatural or demented the plot, the characters have to believe that it's real, and we have to believe that they're real, that their feelings are real. And that was Mozart's great contribution to comic opera, to creating an opera in which his characters are people, real people, normal people. People who have, they're not heroic, they're not, aristocratic particularly. I mean, even the ones who are real people. And The Marriage of Figaro does that. And it does it in a way which, in so many respects has perhaps been equaled but never surpassed. I mean, there are moments, so many moments in The Marriage of Figaro that are so true. And it's just fantastic when Figaro discovers who his parents are. The forgiveness scene, when the Countess, who let's not forget is Rosina from The Barber of Seville, she's only called that once at the end of the opera. When the Countess says, Rosina, but that's who she is. And she says that, I forgive all of this craziness. She forgives her husband, his stupidity. And it's such a touchingly beautiful moment because she's been suffering. She's been suffering through the whole thing. Where is that love that I lost? What happened to us? I mean, they were madly in love. Remember, at the end of the Barber of Seville, and by the time we get to this story, their marriage is on the rocks, and Mozart is going to patch it up. It's going to be, at least temporarily, it's going to be healed. And there are other moments. People talk about, the moment where, at the beginning of the fourth act, where Barbarina is searching for her pin, and she sings the most tragic music in the entire opera because she lost a pin. And Tovey, with his usual perspicacity, pointed out the genius of that moment. The reason she sings the most tragic music isn't because Mozart's trying to make fun of her or because losing a pin is a comical situation. It is a comical situation. But for her, she's a child. And she doesn't know the difference between the sadness of losing a pin and the sadness of losing a parent. For her, it's all the same because she's just a kid and she doesn't understand. And so this is a deeply tragic moment for her. And that's the kind of thing that Mozart's able to do, to get inside his characters in that way and to create portraits of them that just make complete, total sense. And the music, of course, is beyond stunning. The finales are amazing. They're full of continuous music where all kinds of stuff is going on. Cherubino is the very picture of a horny young man. Of course, he's a woman dressed as a horny young man, but whatever. It works beautifully. The Count is a blundering, jerk who is suffering from a male midlife crisis. Figaro and Susanna are a happy couple full of sort of practical wisdom, but the women are much smarter than the men in this opera. It's just the opposite in Così fan tutti, of course. It's the men who are, fooling the women. But in this particular opera, the women are on top, and it's the beginning of modern opera. It really is, and it's the beginning of realistic opera. It's the beginning of so many things. And it's done with so much artistry and with Mozart's typical gloriously singable melodies. Mozart was first and foremost a voice guy. All of his music is vocal music. It doesn't matter what it's written for. It's all vocal music. He had a gift of writing absolutely unbelievably singing tunes. Whatever is singing them doesn't matter, whether it's a person or a place or a thing. And they all sing. And so, I think that for this particular exercise, and to please the god Cancresans, we have to show humanity at its most fallible and noble. Both. Don Giovanni has no nobility in it whatsoever. Everybody is just... But in this opera, no. This opera shows both the lows and the highs. And for that reason, I think it has a greater range than Mozart's later operas in some respects. In that respect, in any case, it's an extraordinary work, absolutely extraordinary, and that's my pick. That's the pick. It was your pick, too, for a lot of you, and I thank you very much for making that suggestion. Keep them coming. The list is growing. You can see down below, and keep on listening. We're going to save classical music from the wrath of the evil god Cancresans, from destroying everything except one work by every composer, by showing him just how much he'll want to hear the rest. And I think The Marriage of Figaro is the entree as well into the world of Mozart's operas and his characters. So thank you so much for joining me, friends. Take care.